Thank you. Question for Russell, seeing you last up. Did you actually find out, or were you able to test whether the strain in New Zealand of V was the same as in Italy?
The quick answer is that so far I would say it's identical. With a 6 million base pairs or something, we might not have found every last thing, but that coloured chart with all 8 of them there, you can view that expanded, you can concentrate on little areas. There is no obvious difference at all whatsoever, so that we would say they're the same thing. Now, within New Zealand, there is some little variation between PSAV strains, and it might be that if you wandered around Italy, you could find, again, little differences, but they're kind of like peas in a pod. Okay. That doesn't answer whether we got it from them or they got it from us, or we both got it from somewhere else.
Okay, one down the front here.
I'm not sure who to address this to, but the red stuff that we see coming out of the plant, is that a reaction by the plant to the bacteria and the plant trying to resist the bacteria? And is that going to be of any help in the future, finding out how they produce that?
That's a very good question. This red exudate, our understanding, it is some phenolic compounds produced by the plant in reaction to infection, and the plant produces those compounds trying to fight the bacteria. Unfortunately, those reactions are put a little bit too late from the kiwifruit point of view, because infection keeps going, and so therefore it doesn't stop PSA. But you will find also that same red exudate from other injury on your kiwifruit vine. And that is very different from the white exudate, which is specific of infection by Somnosteria actinidae, which is made of bacteria. It's very hard to find Somnosteria actinidae in that red exudate.
And I suppose that's a good point to say, if you've got red exudate, particularly if you're not necessarily too close to a PSA positive orchard, it's pretty key to make sure that you get that tested. There is a chance that, and we have had a number of red exudates, I'm sure Michael could verify that going through the VLS lab, that have not been positive for PSAV. So high cane burn can also exhibit similar reactions by the plant and a number of other stresses. You got a follow-up question? Yeah, sure.
We had some red exudates back in the, before Christmas, and we had them tested. They came back negative. Happened on a number of occasions. A number of those plants have since been chopped out because they are positive.
Yeah, and I think there the question is slightly different. It is what a negative test means. A negative test means we have not found the bacteria by whatever way was used in that assay, whether it's by PCR, whether it's by isolation, and there's many reasons why we might not find the bacteria, and yet the bacteria was present. So not finding the bacteria is not a guarantee that PSA is not in the vine.
Okay. Looking around, further questions? James, in the middle of the back. Who's got a microphone? Oh, sorry, Terry.
Question for Joel. You have chemicals obviously up there that can knock and kill PSA out of the vine. To me, some of the races, that systemic race, how do you get a compound that is easily mobile within that vascular or that vine system? Now, you alluded to it up there, and we happily spray a product called Movento, which seems to have fantastic mobility in it. I'm probably looking for your comment on where you're heading. For me, it looks like it's a sort of a point that needs to be underlined in a red pen and chased. So probably looking for comment where you're at with your with chasing that issue.
So the question is which product are systemic and how products move into the plant. That is really a characteristic linked to the molecule. So some molecules will move throughout the plant and other will not. So it is why we were trying to get some molecules directly into the vascular system with different injection methods to see whether it can move or not. There is no rules that says this product will work, this will not. We have to try on an individual basis.
So you cannot screen a product to understand its mobility prior to going through all that testing in the vine?
We are developing a number of assays. There is a big team at Rakura in Hamilton that's working on developing those bioassays that will allow us to say, yes, when we have a product that is in the vine, now it gives us some level of control against PSA. So we are working on those bioassays.
Okay, Terry, I think you were going to ask a question. Sorry, I skipped straight over you.
Sorry, Joel, but you again. Just in respect to Actigard, you say it's most effective after 21 days. How long from that point on do you think that effectiveness has lasted? In other words, when do you have to repeat apply?
Yes, no, excellent questions. So with Actigard or Bion, we have the first effect 7 days after treatment, and that effect carries on at least till 28 days. How long after that do we have the effect? We're still doing, there's an experiment that's ongoing now, and we don't have the results yet, but definitely something we're looking at.
Further questions out there? Throw your hand in the air. Oh, Russell, one down here.
Yes, I have a question for Joel. In your product testing, you had listed Terracep as one of the injected products, but on the results list it didn't appear. Did you have no effect on that, or was there some reason for not being there?
That's correct. The product in the bioassay, as it was done on young plantlets, didn't give us results. However, we believe that that product might have different mode of action, and so therefore we believe that we might have some efficacy if it was injected into the plant.
Okay. Further. Yep, just down in here. Claire, Marissa. Yep.
One of the things I'm worried about is how we're going to get on with males next year, because we seem to be losing males pretty rapidly in orchards at the moment, and I was wondering whether there's any thoughts on possible replacement males that we might be able to get really moving fast with.
Certainly the males is a big part of what we're looking at in the breeding program and in terms of the testing. So can I tell you right now which males are more tolerant? No, but that is part of what we're looking at right now. So it's a big chunk of what we're looking at.
Over the back.
I've got a question for Joel. In the seedling trials, Actigard and Key Strepto showed really good results. I was wondering how the other products in the spring management program fared.
Clearly, streptomycin and Actigard are the two standout products that worked time and time again. And not only they worked time and time again, they also gave us the best results. In the case of streptomycin, we get no infection whatsoever. And with Actigard, it brings down the level of infection tremendously. So those are really the two standout. Then all the other products could be put in three broad categories. Product which are significantly better than water, but not as good as streptomycin or Actigard. Product that do not have any effect, just as good as water. And there's also some product that clearly made matter worse, where you put that product, you get symptoms much more rapidly on your plant than if you would have put water. And we can classify right now all the product we looked at in those three broad categories.
Okay, and the environmental conditions within the glass houses for those trials, are they similar to the environmental conditions you'd experience in an orchard?
Yeah, no, excellent question. And we do know that the climatic conditions impact tremendously onto level of infection and how rapidly symptoms come into the plant. When we started the project, it was in winter. We wanted to go fast. We wanted to have some results for spring and summer. So therefore, and we couldn't go outside. So therefore, we did all those experiments in laboratory conditions and in climate rooms. Now we are moving out of it, and there will be some trials that will be done on potted plants. So we're talking adult plants outside in the field, and those experiments, of course, will be closer to what you have in the orchard. Now, in the glass house, we try to be as close as possible to what there is in the orchard, but it's extremely difficult to reproduce the natural environment into a growth chamber.
Would it be fair to say, Joel, that it's worst case scenarios in your opinion? You're trying to do conditions in the glass house that are more beneficial to the bacteria than they are probably outside.
That's correct. We put the bar very, very high with climatic conditions that are very favorable for the disease. We bring a huge amount inoculum. We're taking 10 to the 9 CFU per mil. So that's 1,000 million bacteria in 1 mil of inoculum, and you put several of those per leaves. So it's a huge inoculum. It is high humidity conditions. It is temperature which favored the disease, and it's young seedlings. So all that is really in favor of the pathogen. Yeah.
So in terms of a take-home message for growers, is that to stick with the copper or the biological program which is currently being promoted, or to switch to a key strepto and hang out for an Actigard,
Okay, so KVH is putting out there some recommendations, and those recommendations have to be followed, especially in terms of streptomycin, where there is some limitation on the use of streptomycin, and perhaps Dave, you want to...
The summer program, as it is called, I think it's been finishing up this week. I'm looking to Terry, that's correct, isn't it? KVH is looking to release that early next week, and you will see that it'll have key strepto as a part of it, along with biologicals and coppers. And, pardon me? Extended spring program then, because an early spring program went out of a month or 6 weeks ago. Huh? Yep. It will have those products that I've just mentioned, as well as a few others. I think it'll also include some sterilants. Okay. Just so he doesn't get off the hook, David Patamore did talk a little bit about bees and pollination and the KVH recommendations. So just because he's not up on the stage doesn't mean you can't direct a question at Neil Cameron if you have one.
Can I ask?
Now we've got a pile of hands going up. Neil, you're in trouble. Down the front, ladies. Oh, you've got one over there.
Yeah. I've seen if the red exudate is the main indicator for us, I've seen red exudate move out of the Hort 16A. I've seen it exuding from the Hayward stump, and now I've seen it in the roots, and seriously in the roots. And it says to me that our rootstock's no good anymore. So can I ask the plant breeders how far have they got with looking for a resistant rootstock?
Absolutely, that's part of the trial.
How far away, yes.
Again, what we've got is, if you like, several thousand different, multiple thousands of different cultivars that we're needing to screen with urgency, and what we're doing is prioritising those. The ones that we're looking at first, or have already looked at, are rootstocks, the males, and those cultivars that are near to commercial state, so that we can get that information available and out to people as soon as possible. There is a recognition that the Chinensis rootstock may be more susceptible, and certainly the Bruno rootstocks that are out there, to be frank, we're using as model systems in our assays.